President-elect Joe Biden tonight fireworks as the 77-year-old claims his path to the White House with a promise to restore America's soul. Refusing to concede, Donald Trump defiant, claiming court battles will begin immediately. From dancing in the street to protesters demanding answers, tonight the United States remains divided. A teenager killed, run down by an out-of-control car, the passenger charged over the deadly crash. The world's leading COVID vaccine begins production here in Australia. One-of-a-kind and eccentric entertainer remembering Jeannie who has died aged 82. And is this the start of a new era? The Wallabies topple the All Blacks at last.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. It was a nail-biting wait, but tonight it's clear. Joe Biden will become the 46th President of the United States. Counting still continues in a handful of states, but it was Pennsylvania's 20 Electoral College votes that pushed Biden past the 270 he needed. After 4 days of waiting, the President-elect finally claimed victory on a stage in Delaware. Not just history for him, but for Kamala Harris, set to be the first woman and first person of colour to serve as Vice President. Donald Trump was playing golf when the race was called, cutting a solemn figure as he headed back to the White House. He is still refusing to concede and maintains he won't go quietly. But today belonged to the man who will replace him.
America gives Joe Biden a mandate to move beyond the Trump years.
It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again. This is the time to heal in America.
The president-elect demanding an end to the political warfare polarising his country.
Let this grim era of demonization in America begin to end here and now.
The 77-year-old's claim to the White House confirmed hours earlier. Deadlocked for 4 days, America's networks finally called the tipping point state.
Joe Biden will win
the state of
Pennsylvania.
Joe Biden's old home state, clinching him the presidency.
We can now project the winner.
That Joe Biden has been elected
the 46th president of the United States.
Folks, the people of this nation have spoken.
And Donald Trump first heard it on his Virginia golf course. A chance meeting with a wedding party.
We love you.
Just as he became the first president since 1992, dumped after one term.
We love you.
From Donald Trump, no acknowledgement that he lost the vote, just an online statement ignoring the fact his rival won 4 million more votes than him. I won this election by a lot.
We did it, Joe.
On a run with husband Doug, Kamala Harris learned she will be America's highest-ranking woman in history. The first woman of colour elected vice president phones the boss.
You're going to be the next president of the United States.
And later thanks him in the biggest speech of her career.
That he had the audacity to break one of the most substantial barriers that exists in our country and select a woman as his vice president.
On American streets, an outburst of emotion. In Democrat strongholds, New York, Washington, Atlanta and Philadelphia, jubilation.
I've been crying on and off all day.
I'm so happy that decency is returning to the White House.
Premature, according to Team Trump.
What was it called by? Oh my goodness, all the networks. Wow. All the networks. We have to forget about the law.
They claim widespread rigging, fraud and interference and say they'll back their case in court.
Mail-in ballots as the most prone to fraud.
But the Trump camp's claim to have won appears to be crumbling. The Democrats have also taken Nevada and might yet win Arizona and Georgia, pushing them well clear of the majority 270 Electoral College votes.
A convincing victory. A victory for We the people.
Joe Biden's speech claiming the presidency 48 years to the day after Delaware elected him as senator.
What I have to say is bound to intrigue you.
He'll turn 78 later this month, America's oldest ever president. This is his third shot at the top job. For 8 years, vice president under Barack Obama. Tragedy has punctuated Joe Biden's life. First wife Nelia and baby daughter Naomi killed in a 1972 car accident. His son Beau lost to brain cancer. Tonight, recognising the support of second wife Jill, soon to be the First Lady.
And I would not be here without her love and tireless support. They're my heart.
Support he'll need with an ambitious agenda. A Biden administration is committed to bringing the US back into the Paris Climate Accord, indicating it will continue a tough-minded approach in relations with China. The president-elect pitching himself as a healer for America's explosive racial tensions, part of the great Biden promise to unite polarised America.
Democrats, Republicans, independents, progressives, moderates, conservatives, young, old, urban, suburban, rural, gay, straight, transgender, white, Latino, Asian, Native American. I mean it.
But his first priority, dealing with an out-of-control pandemic.
On Monday, I will name a group of leading scientists and experts as transition advisors.
The job of Joe Biden's ambitions is now finally his, and yet he must wait. 74 days to his inauguration, January 20th. He can prepare in the meantime, but he must also watch the final weeks of the Trump presidency.
He's what our country needs right now.
No division, no more. No
Bringing
more.
people together.
Bringing us back together.
Tonight, America is hoping their next president can deliver on his most ambitious promise to heal their country.
Spread the faith. God love you all. May God bless America.
And let's go to Tim Lester now at Aquata, Biden headquarters in Delaware. Tim, the president-elect did not mention Trump's legal fight. Instead, he's trying to move forward. Just how difficult could that be?
Well, potentially very difficult, Mark, especially because of the time lag. 10.5 weeks between the time when he wins the vote and then takes the oath of office in Washington, actually becomes president. Joe Biden can now plan like a president, he can appoint like a president, but he can't actually deliver like a president until late January. Now, that's a particular problem for his main stated goal, controlling the pandemic, because the current administration says it is not endeavouring to stop the spread. Rather, it's focused on a vaccine and hoping that might come into being soon. Added to that is President Trump's unpredictable nature will continue to mean he's a focus of attention between now and late January. And you add to that the complexity of the potential legal battles, and that is a real headache for Joe Biden. The Democrats, by January 20th, might be figuring it's a pretty long wait. Mark?
Tim Lester in Delaware, thank you. The president-elect has spoken, the country has a verdict, but the man who's in the White House tonight is still refusing to concede. Donald Trump's tweeted and fired off statements declaring the count will be challenged in court this week. But he is now a one-term president facing growing internal and external pressure to accept the result.
America's 45th president.
Great job, Mr. President.
Playing to supporters. As America swung against him, a shrug, a handshake, one historic photo on the green.
Thank you, Mr. President. We love you.
A surreal moment running into a wedding party.
Come on over here.
And choreographing photos.
Thank you, Mr. President. We love you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We love you.
Have a great life, right?
Yes.
Young and beautiful youth.
Not a single mention that he'd just officially become a one-term president. A thumbs up on his way out. and a caravan of supporters, but from inside his motorcade back to the White House, this was what Donald Trump was seeing. For 40-odd minutes, confronted with jeering crowds, throwing back the word he'd so often used against his enemies. A new extraordinary moment in America's Trump era, arriving back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The briefest of waves, his phone in his hand, golf shoes still on, and he's digging them in. No conceding, no phone call to Joe Biden, no offer yet of a peaceful transition, and no comment as his rival claimed victory. Earlier in a statement, he declared, "We all know why Joe Biden is rushing to falsely pose as the winner and why his media allies are trying hard to help him. They don't want the truth to be exposed. The simple fact is, this election is far from over."
This is outrageous. These lawsuits will be brought starting on Monday.
Accepted or not, Donald Trump's now a member of a new exclusive club, the fourth sitting president in modern history to be rejected for a second term. The last was George Bush Sr. almost 30 years ago. For now, Donald Trump remains in the White House, a caretaker president. He has 74 days until he must hand over the keys, Inauguration Day, January 20 next year. 10 weeks, enough time to offer pardons and exact revenge. In the firing line, the FBI director who didn't investigate claims of Biden family corruption, his defense secretary who resisted sending active troops to stop protests, though reports suggest he'll resign first. Ousting Dr. Anthony Fauci, a tougher task. He's protected from a politically motivated sacking. Trump had long warned America losing wouldn't come easy.
The worst candidate in the history of presidential politics, if I lose, what do I do? I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
President Trump has always just been cut from a different cloth, a much more aggressive, argumentative cloth than a typical Republican. And so let him do it at his own pace.
His return to life as a private citizen could get complicated. Trump owes some $300 million in personally backed loans. New York prosecutors are investigating the Trump family business practices. Allegations remain of possible campaign finance breaches over a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels. And civil suits are underway for claims of sexual assault, which he's denied.
There also is a question of will he pardon himself on his way out the door?
A billionaire businessman few took seriously back on that ride in 2015. Donald Trump will leave office a powerful figure with a polarising legacy and a divided party. Tonight, season 1 is over. The next episode, unwritten.
Now, we haven't heard from Donald Trump since Joe Biden delivered that victory speech, but it's being reported tonight that his son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner has broached the subject of conceding. It's likely that conversation will next come from senior Republicans. But as of tonight, 2 o'clock in the morning, the Biden camp says there has been no communication and no phone call between Donald Trump and the president-elect. Mark?
Ash Mullaney in Washington, thank you. Now let's go to Paul Kadak in Philadelphia. Paul, for the 74 million Americans who voted for Joe Biden, today was a day to celebrate.
Good evening, Mark. Yeah, that's right. It was a batch of vote results from here in Philadelphia this morning that finally secured the state of Pennsylvania and the election for Joe Biden. And then the Democrat Party began. The atmosphere was electric as people filled these streets, and it spread with thousands of people turning out in major cities coast to coast. As some Trump supporters refused to give in, the blue side of the US was eager to move on.
After 4 years and 4 days of waiting.
We won! You know what? Goodness won!
This is the result tens of millions of Americans were counting on. The Capitol dancing to a Democrat president.
Today! Oh my God! Seriously! Oh, thank you!
His supporters excited Donald Trump's first and only term is now ending. That same euphoria repeated in cities across the US. Democrats looking forward to what's coming.
We believed in our hearts that Biden was best for the United States.
In Chicago and in front of his hotel, they cheered. In the city where Trump made his name, they sang. And in the state that delivered for his opponent, pedestrians party. A blue celebration every time the light changed from red.
The news spread like wildfire throughout Philadelphia. Within minutes of Joe Biden being declared the winner, people flocked here to the City Hall, taking to the streets, taking over the streets to celebrate.
Everybody started coming out of their buildings, out of their apartments, cheering, yelling, honking. It was amazing.
Awesome! I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off our shoulders.
And I'm already hopeful in 2024 that Kamala Harris is the next president.
Pennsylvania tipped the Electoral College scales in Joe Biden's favour. Young men and women now reclaiming a disco hit. But among the celebrations, Trump supporters. This lone man confronted in the crowd. Those penned in were taunted, protected by police.
Supreme Court, Supreme Court, Supreme Court!
And refusing to back down.
What's your feeling at the moment?
I feel great. The other side, they actually believe that a news agency can tell them who the president is.
And then they start dumping these fake ballots in there. They're going to find them all out.
In Michigan, some simply wouldn't accept the result. In several other cities, albeit in smaller numbers, so-called Stop the Steal rallies took place.
You committed voter fraud! Cheaters!
And it's fully proof that the press is manipulating and propagandizing this whole election.
But the night belonged to Team Biden, hoping for the next 4 years at least,
Go Biden! Go Biden!
America will march to a different beat. In Philadelphia, Paul Kadak, 7 News.
So with Donald Trump refusing to concede, his fight now goes to the courts and possibly beyond. He claims that legal action starts Monday US time. So what could happen next? Michael Usher has been taking a look.
The Trump camp has launched legal action in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Georgia, Wisconsin and Arizona. While initial challenges of voter fraud were thrown out in Nevada and Georgia, Georgia has ordered a recount, with officials also expecting a recount in North Carolina. Trump lawyers have also called for a recount in Wisconsin. In Pennsylvania, the court has agreed so far to set aside provisional ballots. In Arizona, it's claimed votes have been discarded because of faulty voting machines. This we know, both sides are building a titanic legal fighting fund, reportedly trying to raise up to $100 million each. Now, December 8 is the statutory deadline for resolving any election disputes. The next big date is December 14. That's when members of the US Electoral College have to officially submit their votes for each state. That vote is then certified by the Senate on January 6. But even then, the vote can be challenged. And if Congress can't sort all this out by the end of the president's term on January 20, the Democrat House Speaker Nancy Pelosi could become acting president. As they say, a week is a long time in politics. January 20 is 10 weeks away.
Leaders from around the world have welcomed the election result, including the Prime Minister, who's hailed Joe Biden's win, a new chapter in our alliance. But questions remain. Will Australia be pressured to change tack on policies ranging from trade to climate change?
Visiting Australia in 2016, learning about footy, coming face to face with a koala, and on board HMAS Adelaide.
Take a look at this magnificent ship.
Joe Biden spoke of a special relationship.
You know, when there's an Aussie with you, they always have your back.
The Australian Prime Minister now backing him.
I look forward to forging
a great partnership.
Having forged one with Donald Trump, who's now refusing to concede defeat, Mr Morrison putting his faith in the system.
I have great confidence in the institutions of America's democracy.
Labor leader Anthony Albanese welcoming the result.
I've met Joe Biden and he is a friend of Australia.
A view shared by both sides.
I join with other nations' leaders around the world in congratulating President-elect Joe Biden.
Those congratulations coming in a global torrent of tweets. From British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, I look forward to working closely together on our shared priorities, from climate change to trade and security. Canada's Justin Trudeau, I'm really looking forward to working together. India's Narendra Modi, congratulations on your spectacular victory. New Zealand PM Jacinda Ardern, your message of unity is one we share. But from Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei, one thing is absolutely clear: the definite political, civil and moral decline of the US regime. And from Russia's Vladimir Putin and China's Xi Jinping, silence. Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull famously clashed with Donald Trump over the refugee swap.
It's a relief to have a return to normal transmission.
Believing a Biden presidency will build a new global consensus on climate change, taking a swipe at the Morrison government's approach.
I don't have to go on with all this BS about a gas-led recovery, which is honestly just political piffle.
Mr Morrison brushing aside his predecessor's criticism.
Australia's commitment to addressing climate change will continue.
We can do so much better than that, and now is the time for Scott to move.
Joe Biden has promised to rejoin the Paris Agreement on climate change. Scott Morrison hopes he'll also sign up to the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal, as another former Prime Minister sees Mr Biden's victory as an opportunity to thaw relations with our biggest trading partner.
Find a way of using any recalibration in the US-China relationship to recalibrate the Australia-China relationship at the same time.
Despite constant discussions, President Donald Trump never visited Australia. But Scott Morrison expects Joe Biden and his wife Dr Jill Biden will next year, to mark a significant milestone.
I hope that he and Dr Biden will join us here in Australia for the 70th anniversary of ANZUS.
Celebrating a deep bond.
Across the board, our values are the same.
And values that remain the same as leaders change. Mark Riley, 7 News.
And we'll have any developments as America begins a new day in a special edition of The Latest from 7 News tonight at 8:30. But now let's take a look at the forecast with Angie Asimus. Angie, the run of cooler spring weather is about to end.
Mark, good evening. Some warmer days are on the way. Moving forward, winds will tend northerly and be much lighter. So today really was the last of these unseasonably cool conditions. It is 18 degrees now, but feels closer to 14. In fact, today there was already a big difference between the east and the west. 31 was the top at Moree, 28 for Griffith. But in the path of those southeasterlies, much cooler on the coast. 20 was the top at Newcastle and just 19 for Wollongong. The latest radar shows the showers have generally cleared now. Just some patchy cloud remains, and that will stick around for a couple of days, but it is not rain-bearing, so dry in the short term with the exception of some showers here in the northeast corner. Mark, more weekday weather details coming up very soon.
We'll see you then, Angie. Thank you. A teenager has been killed, hit by a car as she walked along a footpath. After the break, tragic details and why a passenger has now been charged. Australia begins producing the world's most promising COVID vaccine, so when will we have access? Sorry punters, the Tab scrambles to explain its race day meltdown. How the government wanted us to live. A look at Sydney across the decades, that's later. And in sport, the Blues need him to fire. Can Nathan Cleary get the job done on the big stage?
Your hands will be bound. Lungs full of water.
If you want something to go wrong, just add water.
Let's move it! You gotta save that life!
One hesitation. One mistake. It's going to cost you your life.
What have you just done?
I love you, Mum. I miss you. I wish you would come back now.
Monday, 7:30 on 7.
It lives at first light. Wherever we push ourselves. When we pull together. It lives over the door. At the end end of every paintbrush. After the sun has set. It lives in going for a 6 where a 4 would have done it. It lives in every square inch of this place. And because we live here, Can lives here.
You're a tough guy, like you're really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type. I'm the bad guy.
Seltos.
Duh.
The new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G is here. Order now on the network with 5G coverage in more places.
Barocca, energy to help keep you on.
There is still magic wherever you are. Yes, there is magic. Stay young in your heart. It's still around us. It never was lost.
Cherish those golden to us with Ferrero Rocher. Fragrant hazelnuts, smooth velvety chocolate, wrapped in precious gold. Ferrero Rocher, say it with gold.
This year hasn't been easy. We've been hit, we've been down. But this is Australia. We will come back. The Australian government has a plan to create new jobs so employment and businesses can come back. A strong economy with tax cuts, infrastructure and a temporary JobMaker hiring credit to create more jobs. The Economic Recovery Plan. This is our comeback. Find out how it benefits you and Australia at ourcomeback.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Well, it's time for wrinkles. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair. We've got the retinol that gives you results in 1 week. Not just any retinol, accelerated retinol SA. 1 week, it's all it takes. Neutrogena.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Welcome back. A night out has ended in tragedy. A 19-year-old woman killed when she and her friends were struck by an out-of-control car in Wollongong. The teenage driver is now under police guard in hospital, but it's his passenger who's been charged.
Libby Rouge was 19 years old in the prime of her life. Last night it was cut tragically short.
Everyone around her loved her and, still will. And it's going to be a massive hole for everyone to fill.
Libby was walking with 3 of her friends when they were struck by an out-of-control Camry.
It's a tragic event and from what I understand they'd been out together socialising.
First responders were confronted with the mangled car and Libby, who was unconscious, suffering critical head injuries. Police and paramedics tried to revive her, but she died at the scene.
She has not one bad bone in her body, which is, makes it so much harder.
Among Libby's injured friends, an 18-year-old woman and a 21-year-old man who both suffered fractures. Libby's third friend, a 20-year-old woman, was unharmed. The 18-year-old driver and 2 of his passengers had minor injuries.
Considering the amount of people that were out and about last night, it could have been much worse, definitely.
Remarkably though, police say it wasn't the driver's fault, but actually his front passenger who pulled the handbrake, causing the car to lose control. He's been hit with several charges, including dangerous driving, occasioning death. He's been denied bail and will face court tomorrow. Tom Saker, 7 News.
There's a big step forward in our battle against coronavirus as an Australian company begins manufacturing the world's most promising COVID vaccine. As New South Wales moves closer to more border reopenings, Victorians have been given a new lease on life.
This small vial, a significant milestone in the fight against COVID-19. 30 million doses of the Oxford University and AstraZeneca trial vaccine now being produced in Melbourne.
We're expecting the vaccine, should it be approved, to be available towards the middle of the year, so mid-2021.
For the 9th day, Victoria had no community transmissions, now just 4 active cases. But masks will remain mandatory as the ring of steel around Melbourne is lifted.
Victoria will be once again
united as one single state.
Another day of no local transmission also in New South Wales, just 3 new traveller cases, all in quarantine. But there are calls for those in Rouse Hill to get tested, with the virus detected in wastewater, as the state prepares to open its doors to Victoria.
In some respects, it is a leap of faith on our part, but it's an educated leap of faith.
Infectious diseases experts are calling for a national QR code database to be introduced before state borders open to help with contact tracing. The state government says it's leading the world with its system and is happy to offer advice.
We've had inquiries from other states about our QR codes.
The more measures like QR codes that we have in place, the more of our economy and society can open up.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Tabcorp has apologised for a nationwide computer meltdown which caused Australia's biggest ever betting blackout yesterday. Some, but not all, services were back online today. The agency is still investigating a power outage at an external data centre.
Our commitment is to go away off the back of this and leave no stone unturned.
It's estimated the Tab lost $100 million from the blunder. A big win for young families is on the way. Just ahead, a lesson in free childcare with Sydney schools set for a massive upgrade. On the loose, locals step in to help arrest a runaway driver. All at sea, the rescue mission to save a couple of kayakers out of their depth. Plus, she was groundbreaking and always entertaining, remembering Jeannie Little. That's next.
I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of Ross Nixon.
They're all his friends. They all know his murderous secret.
Are you going to go to the cops? Murder is murder.
One of them will betray him.
Well, maybe it's what you deserve.
You will play your part in taking Colby down.
Good guys don't shoot people. How can you all live with this?
I know what happened with Ross.
You're acting like you're untouchable.
I have lost everything because of him.
Everything depends on this one person. I need to find out who they are.
Who is Witness X? Find out this week on Home and Away on 7.
Hi guys, Luke Mangan here, and I'm back in my test kitchen, which I really love. And I'm doing another Mangan family favourite, my zucchini slice with onions, garlic and herbs. All our amazing cultures mean we have some of the world's most interesting recipes, as well as some of the best produce right here, right in Australia. You'll find this recipe online. Search Coles & Co. It's inspiration without the perspiration, with loads of ideas from me and your favourite Aussie chefs. Let's get started. In a medium to hot pan, we're going to get some olive oil and sweat the onion, the garlic and the bacon off. All right, so that's been cooking for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just sweat it down nicely. No colour. And now, take it off the heat, and I add about a tablespoon of these fennel seeds. And we just set that mixture aside. Next step is we get our zucchini and we're going to grate that into a bowl. All the zucchini nicely grated. Next step, to make the batter. So we've got a cup of self-raising flour and we're going to add about 5 eggs, one at a time. Just give that a whisk. You don't want to work it too much. We're just going to mix that over the zucchini. Zucchini's grated, batter's made. I'm just going to add some parmesan to that zucchini, good pinch of salt and good couple of rounds of black pepper and give it a good mix through. Now I'm just adding the onion, the garlic and the bacon. Good mix, and then we're going to place that in our baking dish and cover it with our batter. Straight into an oven, 180 degrees for about 15 minutes. So whilst that's in the oven, we're going to make this beautiful tomato, mushroom and basil salsa. And now we just chop these tomatoes pretty roughly. So we get the little button mushrooms, slice them up, a bit of salt, good pinch of salt, and some olive oil. And then we're going to chop some basil leaves very roughly and give it a good mix. Smells absolutely delicious, looks absolutely delicious. Now let's plate it up. Zucchini slice just sitting on top. And there you have my amazing zucchini slice, tomato, mushroom and basil. This simple, great value meal will feed a family for $5 a serve. For this recipe and loads more, just head to coles.com.au. How amazing is that?
Welcome back. A driver who allegedly ran from a crash in Greystanes in Sydney's West overnight was chased down by residents and held until police arrived. He's accused of smashing his Mini into a parked RAV4, crumpling both cars.
Lucky there was a night time, because daytime, sometime my kids there even playing.
The driver returned a positive breath test. He was arrested and also treated for minor injuries. Schools, preschools will receive millions of dollars from the state government in a budget boost for parents, children and educators. The funding will extend free childcare for thousands of families, while many schools will enjoy major upgrades.
Sunday School, the premier today receiving a free lesson.
What are you cooking? Waffles, I love waffles.
Gladys Berejiklian also handing out lessons, announcing the continuation of free preschool. It's a pledge of $120 million.
So we're extending for at least another year free access to preschools in New South Wales.
2 weeks out from what will be the most important budget this government has ever had to deliver, education was the big ticket item. Schools across Sydney will also receive a makeover, with millions today promised for renovations, and local construction companies will be awarded the contracts to build.
This is a win-win for schools right across the state. It's a win for the economy.
Parents of 3 to 5-year-olds will receive $2,000 per child to cover childcare and early learning expenses. Cash will also go towards state-funded services. And that $120 million coincides for the $120 million for the Metro Renewal Program. 1,000 public schools in Greater Sydney will receive much-needed infrastructure upgrades. And there was no schoolyard politics from Labor leader Jodie McKay today. She backs the Premier's announcements, but does have some concerns that the government can't deliver.
The government made a commitment about every school having air conditioning, and of course there's a $1 billion maintenance backlog.
Peter Fegan, 7 News.
There has been a big rescue effort after 2 women were swept away in their kayaks during an afternoon paddle on the Nepean River at Agnes Banks. It took an hour for fire crews, the SES, police and paramedics to rescue the pair. Thankfully, they walked away uninjured.
Have you got any words for your rescuers?
Yeah, they were wonderful.
The pair had only paddled for about 40 metres before losing control. Australia's most unlikely TV sensation, Jeannie Little, has died after a long battle with dementia. The star's outlandish fashion statements and unmistakable voice helped launch an unforgettable career.
Would you welcome Jeannie Little?
The accidental superstar who introduced Australia to the pizza hat.
Don't wear it on a hot day because otherwise the cheese runs down your face.
And so glamorous and fabulous and innovative and creative.
A dress shop owner initially booked for one guest TV appearance, her grating catchphrase,
and darling, darling, darling.
And her grating fashion sense became beloved.
I thought she was a drag queen, and I thought, my God, this creature, where's she come from Mars?
She won the 1977 Gold Logie.
Pardon me, I think I've got feather balls in my throat,
Off camera, devoted to charities.
She was just the most kind-hearted, generous person. I'm going to start crying.
Diagnosed with dementia in 2009, there's a research foundation in her name.
Darling, are you paying attention?
Jeannie's hit song revealed the joke was on us.
I'm being paid for being what I am, and if you don't like it, I don't give a hoot.
And just the real deal, 100%. You don't get people like that.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
The key to unlocking genetic disorders could live inside an aquarium. After the break, how zebrafish are helping Aussie researchers make giant leaps. Stepping out in full protection, a rare London appearance for the Queen. Social learnings from the 1940s, the new drive to save our precious memories.
Soon in sport, the Wallabies salvaged some pride in a controversial final clash with the All Blacks.
And the showers have pretty well cleared now as we enter a run of much brighter days. All the details are coming up.
$150,000. Can a world record winner take down all 4 chasers?
Game on.
And win? Will quizzing champions
time to dethrone the Queen
beat the chasers? Next up on 7.
Foods are Australia's favourite food delivery service. Have fresh, healthy meals delivered to your door. Enjoy our convenient 2-minute heat and eat meals. Order now. 9 meals for $69. You Foods. It's healthy eating made easy.
Open amazing at Lexhibition. With a 1.9% comparison rate across a selected range of Lexus vehicles. Contact your Lexus dealer today.
The secret to gifting will give you a clue. It has to be thoughtful, not, oh, that'll do. Secret Santa novelties needn't be the go-to. With sparkles like these, you'll want to say it's from you. It truly is the thought that counts. Michael Hill.
Is that your dog?
It's the neighbour's dog. Will my insurance cover this?
Budget Direct would have provided you with temporary accommodation for up to a year while they repaired it.
Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Don't get stuck in pain. Voltaren Emyl Gel relieves muscle pain 2 times faster and reduces inflammation to help get you moving sooner. Voltaren Emyl Gel, available with no mess applicator.
One of these will require little maintenance over the next 25 years. Here's a hint. For the look of wood without all of the worry, make sure your next deck is built with Trex, the world's #1 premium decking brand. Visit au.trex.com for more information on where to buy.
Get your Woolies worth and prepare for Christmas with prices dropped on 140 more products, like Lindt Lindor pouches 80 to 125 grams, now just $6 each. Helping your money go further this Christmas at Woolworths.
Welcome back. Queen Elizabeth has been seen in public for the first time since March. The 94-year-old monarch wore a black face mask as she attended a ceremony marking 100 years since the burial of the unknown warrior at Westminster Abbey. Britons are today waking up to a very different Remembrance Sunday. The Queen's rare appearance, a reminder of the COVID threat gripping the nation. 2 Aussie scientists have made a world-first breakthrough when it comes to understanding more about genetic disease. The pair analysed the humble sea sponge, native to Queensland, finding it has key similarities to humans.
Deep underground in the centre of Sydney, a giant hidden aquarium at the Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute, housing tens of thousands of zebrafish.
Even though they're so different from us physically, they are actually really similar in terms of the genes that they have.
Zebrafish can be studied to better understand humans.
Because they're transparent, we can actually see the genes that are expressed by the different cells.
This is the largest zebrafish aquarium in Sydney, and it is vital for research here at the Institute. And they were helpful when this Aussie husband and wife team made a worldwide discovery using the humble sea sponge unique to the Great Barrier Reef.
So we took samples from the sea sponge and we extracted their genomic sequence.
Finding they still share some of the same DNA as us, possibly holding the key to solving the mystery behind some of our deadliest genetic diseases.
This clearly gave us a new way to read the genome, and that's why it's really exciting, because we can understand better the instruction manual of life.
Going back before dinosaurs roamed the earth to make a giant scientific leap forward. Samantha Brett, 7 News.
We've been given a look at how Australians were educated decades ago. This is our country as far back as the 1940s, what we've learned and how far we've come. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But now Mel is here with sport, and Mel, plenty of pressure on the Blues halfback for Origin 2.
Yeah, there is, Fergo, and he knows it. We'll hear from Nathan Cleary on how he needs to improve for the must-win clash next. Plus, finally, highlights of a Wallabies win against the All Blacks and the controversies that threaten to overshadow it. And one-on-one with Scott McLaughlin, our exclusive chat with the Supercars champ on IndyCar targets and a Bathurst promise.
The baby boomer, the millennial.
Mixed generations, those things count for something.
Combined knowledge that spans the ages.
Like, correct. South Australia. Correct. England. Correct. Great teamwork.
It will be the battle of the ages.
Oh dear.
On You The Chase, weekdays at 5 on 7.
Get your Woolies worth and prepare for Christmas with prices dropped on 140 more products, like Woolworths seasoned whole RSPCA approved chicken, now just $6.50 a kilo, helping your money go further this Christmas at Woolworths.
Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.
Find a gift for today and forever with Pandora Jewellery.
Invest with Latrobe Financial, Australia's multi-award-winning wealth manager, returning a current variable rate of 4.5% reviewed monthly on a 12-month investment. Make your money work harder for you. Call 138010.
Fetch movies. Fetch shows. Fetch them all on one simple menu. All your entertainment, easy. Fetch.
Tired of running out of sparkling water? Then get this counterbalance forklift. It can carry loads of bottles so you never run out. There must be a fresher way. Get a SodaStream and make fresh sparkling water at home whenever you want. SodaStream.
All you need to launch a culinary empire. Tools you claim everyone has in their kitchen.
They don't.
And a Squarespace website where you can brag about how you never went to culinary school.
U-Foods are Australia's favourite food delivery service. Have fresh, healthy meals delivered to your door. Enjoy our convenient 2-minute heat and eat meals. Order now, 6 meals for $49. U-Foods, it's healthy eating made easy.
She's making every second count.
Did you just do a cartwheel? I'm living the dream!
The Big C, streaming for free on 7+.
This Sport Report brought to you by Tab. Long may we play.
Welcome back. The Blues are backing Nathan Cleary to answer his critics in State of Origin 2 on Wednesday night. Brad Fittler has ignored calls for the halfback to be axed, instead giving him the added responsibility of the vice-captaincy. Cleary admits he needs to lift after being well below his best in the series opening loss at Adelaide Oval.
No, I think there's a lot I can improve on, obviously king game and stuff like that, so I've had a hard look at that. Probably just a mental switch. It's probably the biggest thing about what we need to do better.
The Blues must win at ANZ Stadium to force a decider. 2 controversial red cards took some of the gloss off a morale-boosting win for the Wallabies last night. A week after a record loss to the All Blacks, Dave Rennie's Aussies salvaged some Bledisloe pride, extending their Suncorp Stadium winning streak to 7 matches.
The sheer elation spoke volumes. This just a week after the shame in Sydney.
We knew we were better than last week, and the great thing, we only had to wait 7 days for redemption.
Test centurion James Slipper brought the Aussies out on a high, and Reece Hodges' brilliant cross kick for Banks and Tom Wright after just 2 minutes didn't hurt either.
He flicks it out the back door and a try on debut!
But this match will be defined by 2 red cards. First, off a Tuanga Farsi.
It's got him flush on the jaw.
Then a menacing Wallaby giant on debut, Lachie Swinton.
Oh dear.
The send-offs sparked furious debate. Has rugby lost its hard edge?
It's a safety issue and hard to argue with both the decisions made.
We don't train to tackle around the head, so we've got to be better and tackle lower.
This too proved critical. A yellow card as the second half teetered.
Scott Barrett can't do that.
While he was gone, the Tongan Thor rumbled, creating havoc near the Blacks' line. And then he crossed it.
Need Tani Alatupo.
There he is! He's over!
Marika Korobetti's desperation snuffed out the expected late Kiwi fight back. It was one to savour.
It doesn't count for much tonight if we don't back it up against Argentina in a couple of weeks.
Pat Welch, 7 News.
Will Pekoski has taken another huge step towards his first Test call-up. The 22-year-old rising star followed his unbeaten double century for Victoria in the Sheffield Shield last week, with 174 not out today against Western Australia. Pekoski has now scored 429 runs without being dismissed in his last 2 games. New South Wales were bowled out for a paltry 64 on day 1 of their clash with Tasmania. Scott McLaughlin has set himself a 3-year deadline to win the IndyCar Championship. In an exclusive interview from his new American home, the Supercars champ also made a Bathurst promise and explained the thrill of his new ride.
Just have a listen to this. Scott McLaughlin hitting 350 k's per hour on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a 2.5-mile 4K loop in 40 seconds.
Probably the closest thing you feel to being a superhero. It's a cool feeling. They're like fighter jets.
To race next year's Indy 500, the 3-time Supercars champ had to complete a 40-lap rookie orientation. Mandatory average speeds start at 330 k's per hour.
It was a bucket list checked, but now I can't wait to go back there in May.
Only 17 Aussies and Kiwis have done it. John Smales has written the story of our Speed Kings.
I think Scott will do very well because his work ethic is probably the best we've ever seen.
Only Scott Dixon and Will Power have conquered the Brickyard.
Checker flag! Power and Penske win it!
When you're handpicked by Roger Penske, you're expected to, and win championships.
3-year plan, by the end of it, you'd like to be contending for a championship. That's probably exactly what I would like to do, and I'm going to need to.
It's the golden drive. No one in the world has ever been given the opportunity that Scott McLaughlin's been given.
After a mishap on debut, the first girl's finishing a race, but there will be a detour to Mount Panorama for a Bathurst reunion with Car 17.
Put myself in a pretty plumb co-driver role. I'll have less pressure and I don't have to qualify the car, nothing. I'll just go out and drive and do my bit.
Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Great to hear from the champ. Great to hear he'll be back in Bathurst. And don't count him out with the IndyCars if he set that target.
No, Mel, we won't. Thank you.
Thanks.
Time and wear and tear are slowly destroying some of our state's most precious memories, with work now underway to save thousands of films in the New South Wales archives. 7 News has been given a behind-the-scenes look at the rescue mission and the films which show the way things used to be.
From hair-raising education to rude drunks ruining sleep and old-time road rage, some of the 4,000 government films kept here at the State Archives in Kingswood.
It's really a lovely pictorial glimpse into our past.
Like this 1940s road film.
Alice is no fool. She looks for traffic the wrong way. She'd give that driver a piece of her mind if she had any.
This is Liverpool Road at Ashfield, 73 years ago.
But I didn't see you, Constable.
And from the 1950s, when Dad would try to relax, his Mum did all the work in the new kitchen.
Yes, an electric stove. I know I'm lucky.
The idea was to show country families how they could upgrade from this to an easier life.
My dream of a handy kitchen has come true.
They really are positive messages from government to educate the community on what the best way to live their life is.
Like getting enough rest.
Lack of sleep causes loss of alertness.
Or telling children in 1944 they had to be safer.
The bike's not much good now, neither is Archie. Anyway, he uses a wheelchair now.
Many of the films are in danger of rotting away.
So we have to get our digitisation done before those things get to such a point.
The films are on the State Archive website, breathing new life into our past. Patrick Burns, 7 News.
Angie is back with a forecast now. Angie, it's about to start feeling a lot more like spring.
Yes, Mark, after a brief return to wintry conditions, temperatures are on the rise this week. Your 7-day forecast is next.
Hello, tonight on the latest from 7 News. It's coming up to dawn in Washington, D.C. A new political era, but will we hear from Donald Trump?
He likes Aussie rules. His uncles died alongside our diggers and wants us to be a Pacific power. What Joe Biden's leadership means for Australia.
All new developments from the US.
Tonight in a special edition of the latest from 7 News 8:30.
$150,000. Can a world record winner take down all 4 chasers?
Game on.
And win?
This is as good as it gets.
I'm shaking. You'll be hooked till the final second. As quizzing champions, face Australia's greatest quizzing challenge.
Time to dethrone the Queen.
Beat the Chasers. Next up on 7.
Right now, you can get the LDV T60 Auto for the price of the manual. Feels good, doesn't it? The LDV T60 4x4 Diesel Auto from just $28,990. Visit an LDV dealer today.
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, provides the cover you need for your property and rental income. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
As a first-time investor, Terry Shear provides the security I need.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
As feelings go, winning millions is a pretty nice one. But you know what? There's something even nicer. Sharing your world with the people who make your world. That's what makes us truly rich. And there's just no nicer feeling than that. Wouldn't it be nice?
For tough pain relief, my go-to is Panadol Extra. Because if I don't, with my migraine headaches, I'm kind of useless in the kitchen. It's good to know you can still help out the people who need you. Together, let's rethink care.
The year was weird, that much is true. Fires, floods and lockdowns too, and we all missed so much along the way. So let's pack it all into one day and make it bigger than Christmas. The Easter Bunny rides a sleigh, we'll raise a cracker for Father's Day. Pin the tail on the tree, Rudolph's at your Bucks party. It's a roast turkey wedding cake, it's a football mayor pudding. We missed a year, but now we're here. It's bigger than Christmas. Happy ho merry Mother's Day. Congratulations, hope you get well soon. Hip hip hooray, I do. Salutations, mazel tov, inshallah, Shinyan Hao to you. 'Cause now we made it through. Make it bigger than Christmas.
So it's between that one and this one.
Make the choice easy. Get a 3.9% comparison rate across the Corolla hatch and sedan range. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Welcome back. Recapping our top story, and Democrat Joe Biden will be America's 46th president. The 77-year-old claimed victory with a speech aiming to unite Americans and soothe the divisions of the past 4 years. Making history, he was introduced by running mate Kamala Harris, the first woman and first person of colour to be elected vice president. But as they push forward, Donald Trump has refused to concede. He was playing golf in Virginia when the result was called and has unleashed lawyers to battle the count in several key states. It's believed his son-in-law is urging him to admit defeat and let the country move on. Now, the latest on our weather, here's Angie.
Thanks very much, Mark. We enjoyed a few glimpses of sunshine today, and what's left of the cloud cover will break up over the next couple of days. Today's top was 21 degrees. We reached that just after 3 p.m. Low 20s was the trend across the board. A little bit cooler at Terrey Hills with 19 there. Penrith was the warmest, recording 23. The latest satellite data shows some isolated cloud just remaining on the coastal fringe. These cool onshore winds still producing the odd shower, but mainly in the northeast corner. Tomorrow, high pressure is the dominant feature. As that system tracks further out into the Tasman, winds wrapping around that will push onto our coast in a northeasterly direction, which means it will start to get a little bit warmer. Around the nation for your Monday, Brisbane, partly cloudy, 25 degrees, mostly sunny in Canberra, warm too, 23, really heating up in Melbourne, 27 degrees forecast, clear skies, 22 for Hobart, a steamy one ahead for Adelaide, 34 degrees, and a stormy day ahead for Perth. Statewide, big blue skies for the majority of centres here. Little bit more cloud cover just on the coast, mainly in the north. Temperatures will hover around the low 20s for the eastern centres, reaching low 30s inland. Tomorrow will be cloudy across the metro region with pleasant temperatures, a few sunny breaks as well. We're aiming for a top of 21 degrees at Mascot. Parramatta 22, Penrith aiming for 25. On the water tomorrow, winds will be light, running at 10 knots in an east-southeasterly direction before tending east-northeasterly by afternoon. For the CBD, the cool southerlies will be replaced with lighter winds, so the top of 21 will feel much warmer than it has over the course of the weekend. To the week ahead, a run of fine days and warmer temperatures for us ahead. Just a couple of showers again on Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday also looking very warm, the kind of temperatures we are used to seeing in November. Mel and Mark.
Nice week on the way.
Yeah,
Thanks,
sure
Angie. That is 7 News for this Sunday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening and more reaction from the US election in the latest at 8:30. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.